What's the most underreported type of childhood abuse? Sibling sexual abuse. Now we're looking at between 15% to 50% of all sexual abuse in kids is because of sibling sexual abuse, but it's very underreported for a lot of reasons. But essentially this happens after one sibling becomes sexually abused by someone else in another circumstance, and then they perpetrate on their sibling. That's the most common reason. Some of the main signs of this would be nightmares, bedwetting, regression, and then avoidance of the other sibling, especially as that sibling gets older. They may just distance themselves, and you may try to make them, hang out together or whatever. There might be a reason that there's distance that they don't even know how to verbalize. And then other signs you might notice, things like drawing pictures, like sexual knowledge, or like lots of questions that don't feel appropriate for their age, any sort of sexualized behaviors like rubbing on things like that. A lot of excuses go into this, whether it's like, well, it was just touching just a little bit, or it's just curiosity, or like they're siblings, they didn't know better. For me, my therapist told me when I had my first assessment, she was like, you have the symptoms of a sexual abuse survivor. And I was like, I don't think I've ever been sexually abused as a kid. And she was like, it just feels like you have. And after some work in therapy, yes, I did have sibling sexual abuse. And I went to disclose this to my parents and I got shut down. So let's talk about what to do if this is disclosed to you. If your child is still a minor, get your kids in therapy, separate them, and do everything you can to keep them monitored when they're together. But get the perpetrator sibling help. Don't shame them. Let's just move into therapy. Let them do the work. Check internet histories, check conversation logs, check all of that stuff. You should keep that monitored. If your kid is older and they're disclosing this in their 20s or 30s, then maybe you should not tell them that like, oh no, it couldn't have been, or like, it's not that big of a deal. It was so long ago. You should still talk to your sister or your brother. You should never force contact. You should validate them and say like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. It took me literally like 20 years to be able to put words to why I wanted to avoid my sibling. And then if you are the person that abused your sibling, the best thing you can do is just be transparent with them, start a conversation, actually apologize, not be like, oh, kind of like, I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry you feel hurt. No, like you messed up. Whether or not you are traumatized, like take responsibility, tell them you're going to go to therapy, do the work, and then move forward. And don't force them to talk to you if they don't want to and if they're not ready, but you can put that apology out there.